The dove's soft cooing felt like mockery as I stared at the cream-colored envelope on my kitchen counter. My hands trembled as I traced the gold-embossed edges, fighting the urge to rip it to shreds. Instead, I reached for my wine glass, draining what remained of my morning's liquid courage. The invitation had arrived yesterday, but I'd needed 24 hours to work up the nerve to open it. 24 hours of telling myself I was being paranoid, that the whispers and sideways glances at family gatherings meant nothing, that my best friend and my father couldn't possibly. "Just open it, Victoria," I muttered, sliding my finger under the seal. The paper was expensive, thick and textured, probably hand-pressed by some artisan in Vermont. Dad always did have expensive taste. The words hit me like a physical blow. "Join us in celebrating the union of Randall Sanderson and Delaney Horton." My wine glass shattered against the wall before I even realized I'd thrown it. Red droplets trickled down the white paint like blood, and I watched them fall, feeling oddly detached from my own body. The dove outside cooed again, and I wanted to scream. 6 months ago, Delaney had been my maid of honor. She'd helped me pick out my dress, arranged my bachelorette party, held my bouquet while I said my vows. And my father, he'd walked me down the aisle with tears in his eyes, promising he was proud of the woman I'd become. Now here they were, their names entwined in golden script, mocking everything I thought I knew about love and loyalty. My phone buzzed. Linda's face appeared on the screen, and I almost ignored it. But Linda had been there through my mother leaving, through the divorce, through everything. She'd know what to say. "Have you checked your mail?" Her voice was gentle, careful. "They're getting married." The words came out hollow, emotionless. "My best friend and my father are getting married." "Oh, honey, did you know?" The question escaped before I could stop it. "Has everyone been laughing behind my back this whole time?" "God, no. I just got my invitation this morning. I couldn't believe— I mean, isn't she only 32? And your dad must be 58. I pressed my forehead against the cool kitchen window. "He's 58, and she was at my wedding 6 months ago, pretending to be my best friend while she was—" My voice cracked. The memory hit me like a sucker punch, Dad pulling me aside at my reception, his eyes bright with something I'd mistaken for joy. "Sweetheart," he'd said, squeezing my hands, "I know I haven't always been the father you deserved, but I promise I'm going to give you something better. Something that will make up for everything." I'd thought he meant he was finally going to be present, to be the dad I'd needed since Mom left. Instead, he'd been planning to become my father-in-law. "I should have seen it," I whispered, more to myself than Linda. All those times she came over for family dinner, how she always asked about him, always laughed too hard at his jokes. I thought she was just being nice, trying to include him because she knew how much I wanted a real family again. "This isn't your fault," Linda said firmly. "They're the ones who betrayed you. They're the ones who—" "The wedding's in 3 months. I cut her off, reading the date again. "At the Rosewood Hotel, where I got married." The silence on the other end of the line stretched out like a shadow. "Victoria!" Linda's tone held a warning. She knew me too well. "Whatever you're thinking, did I tell you what Dad said to me, right before I left for my honeymoon?" I traced a finger through the condensation on the window. "He said he was going to give me something better, something to make up for everything. Listen to me." "Well, maybe I should return the favor." My voice had gone quiet, steady. The shock was wearing off, replaced by something darker, something that burned. Maybe I should give them something better too. Something they'll never forget. The dove outside finally flew away, leaving behind a single white feather on my windowsill. I watched it flutter in the breeze, remembering how many we'd released at my wedding, how they'd symbolized peace, new beginnings, hope. This time, there would be no doves, no peace, no forgiveness, just justice. And I knew exactly how to serve it. The old photo album felt heavy in my lap, each page weighted with memories I couldn't trust anymore. I'd pulled it out, hoping to find— what? Proof that I'd imagined the whole thing? Instead, Every image of Delaney at our family gatherings now seemed tainted, like watching a horror movie where you know the killer is hiding in plain sight. You need to eat something, Linda said from my kitchen, the clatter of dishes punctuating her concern. When's the last time you had an actual meal? I flipped to a photo from last Christmas. There was Delaney perched on the arm of Dad's favorite chair, both of them laughing at some private joke. How had I been so blind? Victoria? Linda appeared with a plate of toast. You're doing that thing again, where you disappear into your head and plot murder. Not murder. I closed the album with a snap. Just destruction. There's a difference. She set the plate down and settled beside me on the couch. Talk to me. What are you really thinking? I'm thinking about the letter. I pulled it from between the album pages. Cream paper, matching the wedding invitation perfectly. The one Delaney sent me 3 weeks ago, gushing about how excited she was to be my bridesmaid, about how she'd always wanted a sister. Linda took the letter, scanning it quickly. Her sharp intake of breath told me she'd reached the part that had kept me awake all night. Your father has been such a rock for me lately, she read aloud. Every time Marcus and I fight, Randall reminds me that real love is worth waiting for. Jesus Christ! She was already sleeping with him. The words tasted like acid. While she was helping me pick out my wedding dress, while she was standing next to me at the altar, she was sleeping with my father. We don't know that for sure. Oh, I know. I grabbed my phone, pulling up the text thread. Look at these messages. All those times she was working late, but somehow ended up at my house for dinner. All those Sunday brunches she just happened to show up for. Linda scrolled through the texts, her expression darkening. That manipulative little... It gets better. I snatched the phone back, finding the photo I discovered at 3 a.m. This is from 4 months before my wedding. Look at her hand. The image showed Delaney at some charity event, her arm draped casually over a chair. On her right hand gleamed my grandmother's sapphire ring, the one Dad had promised would be mine on my 30th birthday. He gave her Mom's ring. My voice cracked. Before my wedding, before he even walked me down the aisle, he gave her Mom's ring. Linda wrapped her arms around me as the tears finally came. We'll fix this, she whispered. Whatever you need. I need them to hurt. I pulled away, wiping my eyes. I need them to feel what I'm feeling right now. And then what? You'll feel better? No. I stood up, moving to the window, where the morning sun cast long shadows across my floor. But at least they won't get to feel better either. My phone buzzed. Another message from Delaney. They'd been coming steadily since the invitations went out, each one more sickeningly sweet than the last. This one made my stomach turn. I know this must be a shock, but I hope you'll stand beside me like I stood beside you. You're still my best friend, my sister. Nothing has to change. Linda read over my shoulder and swore softly. What are you going to do? I thought about the ring, about all those secret dinners, about the way they'd played me for a fool. Then I thought about the Rosewood Hotel, where I'd celebrated the happiest day of my life, and where they planned to celebrate theirs. So I'm going to give them exactly what they want. I typed out a reply with steady fingers. Of course I'll be your bridesmaid. Nothing would make me happier. Victoria! Linda's voice held a note of fear. What are you planning? I showed her my phone screen, where an email from Dad's business partner, Prudence, sat unopened. The subject line read, Randall's financial irregularities. Urgent. I'm planning to be the perfect daughter, I said softly. The perfect friend. Right up until the moment I'm not. The sun caught the diamond on my own wedding ring, sending fractured light dancing across the walls. Soon, I'd make sure their perfect day shattered just as beautifully. Linda picked up her purse, hesitating at the door. Just promise me you'll think this through. Really think about what you're risking. I smiled, but it didn't reach my eyes. The only thing I'm risking is their happiness, and they risked mine first. Fresh coffee filled my apartment with the illusion of normalcy as I spread the documents across my kitchen table. 3 weeks of playing the supportive daughter had yielded a treasure trove of financial records, each page more damning than the last. Dad always did underestimate me. Probably thought I was too broken by Mom's departure to notice anything beyond my own pain. My phone lit up with Delaney's latest message. Bridal shower planning lunch today. Can't wait to see you. I texted back a string of heart emojis, then turned to the woman sitting across from me. Well, Prudence, what am I looking at? Dad's business partner adjusted her glasses, perfectly manicured nails tapping against a spreadsheet. Your father's been cooking the books for years, moving money between accounts, inflating profits, hiding losses. Classic fraud. Anne Delaney? Started as his secretary last year. By month 3, she had access to all the offshore accounts. Prudence's lips curved into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Quite the quick study, your friend. The coffee turned bitter in my mouth. I'd assumed their betrayal was purely personal. This added layer of financial corruption somehow made it worse. Why are you showing me this? Because, dear Victoria, your father promised me partnership 20 years ago. Instead, he's grooming his new bride to take over. She slid another document across the table. And I don't appreciate being replaced by a gold digger half my age. I studied the partnership agreement, dated 3 months before my wedding. Delaney's signature looked especially smug. What do you want from me? I want what you want, justice. Prudence leaned forward. The question is, do you have the stomach for it? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed again. An unknown number, but the message made my heart skip. We need to talk about your father. Meet me at Riverside Park, 2 p.m. Nicholas. I'd met Nicholas at last week's engagement dinner, Dad's new junior partner, all sharp suits and sharper smiles. He'd watched me all evening with an intensity that suggested he knew more than he was saying. I have to go, I told Prudence, gathering the documents. But first, that family heirloom I mentioned. She pulled an envelope from her briefcase. The authentication papers you requested. Your grandmother's mirror is indeed quite valuable, and quite fragile. I tucked the papers away, already imagining the mirror's ornate frame wrapped in white silk, presented as the perfect wedding gift. One good push was all it would take. The park was quiet for a weekday afternoon. Nicholas waited by the fountain, looking less polished than at dinner. His tie was loose, his hair ruffled by the wind. I wasn't sure you'd come, he said as I approached. I'm full of surprises. I kept my tone light, practiced. Like showing up to support my father's wedding. Everyone thought I'd make a scene. Aren't you? His eyes met mine. Making a scene, I mean. Just not the one they're expecting. My carefully constructed mask slipped. What do you know? I know Prudence showed you the books. I know about the mirror authentication. He stepped closer. I know you're planning something for the wedding, and I know it won't give you what you really want. And what's that? Peace. His voice softened. The kind that doesn't come from revenge. You don't know anything about what I want. But my hands were shaking as I turned away. So, I know your mother left when you were 12. I know you've spent every day since trying to prove you're worth staying for. He caught my arm gently. And I know your father and Delaney deserve whatever's coming to them. I just don't think you deserve what it'll do to you. Tears burned behind my eyes. Why do you care? Because I've been where you are, wanting to burn everything down just to feel the heat. He released my arm. But I also know something about your father's business that could change everything, something not even Prudence has figured out. My phone buzzed. Delaney, reminding me about lunch. The perfect opportunity to play my role, to advance my plan, to move one step closer to destroying them both. But Nicholas's words had cracked something open inside me, exposing a truth I'd been avoiding. Revenge might break them, but it was already breaking me. What do you know? I asked finally. He pulled out his phone, showing me an email chain that made my blood run cold. The question is, what are you going to do about it? The answer would change everything. I just didn't know if I was ready for what that meant. Rain tapped against the window of the bridal boutique, matching the hollow rhythm in my chest as Delaney twirled in another white dress. The email chain from Nicholas played on repeat in my mind. Proof that Dad's company wasn't just committing fraud. They were laundering money for people who made fraud look like child's play. What do you think of this one? Delaney's voice pulled me back. She smoothed the silk against her hips, and I forced myself to smile. Beautiful, I lied, noting how the fitted bodice highlighted her youth, how the sweep of fabric emphasized everything my father apparently couldn't resist. But maybe something more traditional. Her face fell exactly as I'd intended. You're right. Your dad mentioned loving those classic ball gowns. My phone buzzed. Nicholas again. We need to talk. What you're planning could get people hurt. I muted it, focusing instead on Delaney's reflection. She was studying me in the mirror, her expression suddenly sharp beneath the bridal glow. I know this is hard for you, she said softly. Seeing me with Randall. Not at all. I stood, reaching for a dress with a dramatically low back. Try this one. Dad always did appreciate a good view. The barb landed. Her cheeks flushed, but she rallied quickly. I love him, Victoria. This isn't some game or midlife crisis. What we have is real. Real enough to steal my mother's ring? The words escaped before I could stop them. She froze, one hand instinctively covering her right hand, where the sapphire should have been. He told you? He didn't have to. I saw you wearing it months ago. I moved closer, voice dropping. Where is it now, Delaney? Did you lose it already? Or did Dad take it back when he realized someone might notice? It's not what you think. She grabbed my arm as I turned away. Your father gave it to me as a promise, yes, but... But what? You were just borrowing it? Testing it out like you tested out my father? He was lonely. Her composure cracked. After your wedding, he was so lost. Talking about missed chances, about growing old alone. I only meant to be there for him as a friend, but you couldn't resist the business opportunity? I watched her face carefully. The partnership agreement must have been quite a bonus. Something flickered in her eyes. Confusion? Fear? What partnership agreement? Before I could press further, my phone buzzed again. This time it was Linda. Prudence called. Something's wrong. Get out of there now. The boutique's door chimed. Dad walked in, his presence filling the small space like smoke. Sweetheart, I thought I might find you here. He moved to kiss Delaney, but his eyes never left me. Those same eyes that had watched me grow up, that had shed tears at my wedding, now held something calculating and cold. Victoria was just helping me choose a dress, Delaney said, but her voice had changed. Higher, nervous. How thoughtful. Dad straightened his tie. A tell I remembered from childhood. He was worried about something. Though I'm surprised you have time, given how busy you've been with Prudence. The air thickened with unspoken threats. I thought of the documents hidden in my apartment, of the authenticated mirror, waiting to shatter their perfect day, of Nicholas's warning about people getting hurt. Just being a supportive daughter, I said, gathering my purse. Like you always wanted. Funny thing about support? He stepped between me and the door. It works both ways. For instance, I've always supported your career. Would hate to see anything happen to that new promotion of yours. My heart stuttered. Are you threatening me? Of course not. His smile was gentle, practiced. Just reminding you that families should protect each other, not go digging through old financial records. Delaney made a small sound behind me. When I glanced back, she was clutching the wedding dress like armor, her face pale. She hadn't known, I realized, about any of it. I should go, I said, pushing past him. Lots of wedding plans to arrange. His hand caught my arm, gripped tight enough to bruise. Victoria. His voice dropped to a whisper. Don't make me choose between my daughters. I'm not your daughter anymore. I pulled free. I'm just the person who's going to make you pay for everything you've done. The rain had picked up as I fled the boutique, but I barely felt it. My phone lit up with Nicholas's latest message. Whatever you're planning with that mirror, don't. There are better ways. Let me help. But as I thought of Dad's threats, of Delaney's false innocence, of everything they'd stolen from me, I knew there was no turning back. The mirror would shatter, and with it, every lie they'd built their love upon, even if it shattered me too. Delaney's laugh echoed through the hotel lobby, the same bright sound I'd heard at countless girls' nights, now tainted by knowledge of what she'd been hiding. I gripped the mirror's authentication papers in my purse, watching her charm the wedding coordinator with practiced ease. "The ceremony will be in the grand ballroom," she was saying, "just like Victoria's was. It feels right, doesn't it? Keeping it in the family?" My phone vibrated. "Linda, for the 5th time today. Don't do this alone. Nicholas and I can help. Please call me." I ignored it, focusing instead on the way Delaney's hand trembled slightly as she signed the venue contract. The sapphire ring was still conspicuously absent from her finger. "Victoria!" She spotted me, waving as if we were still best friends meeting for coffee. "Perfect timing. We're just finalizing the details." The coordinator smiled professionally. "How wonderful to have you back. Your wedding was absolutely stunning." "Yes," I said, matching Delaney's false brightness. "Dad certainly knows how to make a wedding memorable." Delaney's smile flickered. Since the boutique confrontation, she'd been watching me differently, less like a friend and more like someone calculating the distance to the nearest exit. "Speaking of memorable," I pulled out the mirror's papers. "I've finally decided on your wedding gift." "Oh?" Her voice lifted with genuine curiosity. "Grandmother's mirror. The one that hung in the entrance hall when we were growing up." I watched her face carefully. Dad always said it should stay in the family. Something dark passed behind her eyes. That's so thoughtful. But are you sure? I know how much you loved that mirror." Insisted on it, actually." Dad's voice cut through the lobby like a blade. He appeared beside Delaney, hand possessive on her waist. "Wouldn't take no for an answer." The coordinator excused herself, leaving us in a triangle of tension. I could feel Dad analyzing my every movement, looking for signs of the trap he knew I was setting. "Well," Delaney said brightly, "we should discuss the seating arrangements while you're here, for the reception." "Actually," I stepped closer, lowering my voice, "I was hoping to speak with you alone, about what happened at the boutique." Dad's fingers tightened on Delaney's waist. "Sweetheart, we have that meeting." "It's fine." Delaney touched his arm. "Give us a minute?" He hesitated, then kissed her cheek. "Don't be long." But his eyes met mine in clear warning before he walked away. We found a quiet corner near the hotel bar. Delaney ordered a martini with shaking hands. "The partnership agreement," she said before I could speak. "The one you mentioned. I never signed anything like that." "I've seen your signature." "Then it's forged." She downed half her drink. "Look, I know how this looks. Poor little secretary seducing the boss, getting her hands on company secrets. But I swear, Victoria, I didn't know about any of it until recently. And now that you do, now I'm in too deep." Her voice cracked. "The things your father is involved with, the people he works with, I can't just walk away." "You could help me stop him." She laughed bitterly. "You don't get it. These people don't care about right or wrong. They care about money and power, and they'll destroy anyone who threatens either." "Is that why you're marrying him? Protection?" "I'm marrying him because I love him." But her eyes darted away. "The rest, I'm handling it. Like you handled being my friend while sleeping with my father?" "That was different. That was—" She pressed her fingers to her temples. "I never meant to hurt you." "But you did." I stood, steadier than I'd felt in weeks. "And now I'm going to hurt you back, starting with that mirror." "Victoria, wait!" She grabbed my wrist. "Whatever you're planning, don't. Please. You don't understand what your father is capable of." "Maybe not." I pulled free. "But he doesn't understand what I'm capable of either." My phone buzzed again as I walked away. This time it was Nicholas. "Found proof of Prudence's involvement. She's playing you. Don't trust her." I stared at the message, thinking of Delaney's warning, of Dad's threats, of all the pieces moving in shadows I couldn't quite see. The mirror suddenly felt less like a weapon and more like a trigger, one that might set off an explosion I couldn't control. But as I watched Dad return to Delaney, watched him kiss her like he hadn't just threatened his own daughter, I knew it was too late to change course. The mirror would shatter tomorrow, and with it, every carefully constructed lie they'd built their world upon. I just had to survive what came after. The scent of roses filled my apartment, sickeningly sweet as I stared at the mirror propped against my wall. Its ornate frame caught the morning light, casting elaborate shadows that seemed to writhe and twist. In 12 hours, it would be wrapped in white silk, ready to shatter more than just glass. A knock at the door made me jump. Nicholas stood there, rain-soaked and grim. "We need to talk." "I'm busy." I tried to close the door, but he caught it. "Prudence is working with your father." He pushed inside, dripping water on my floor. "The documents she showed you? Carefully selected. She's trying to manipulate you into doing exactly what they want." "And what's that?" "Creating a scene." He ran a hand through his wet hair. "A public disruption they can use to discredit you when the real scandal breaks." My phone lit up with a text from Delaney. "Getting ready at the hotel. Please come early. Need to talk." "Why should I believe you?" I asked Nicholas. "For all I know, you're working with them too." He pulled out his phone, playing a recording that made my blood freeze. Prudence's voice, sharp and clear. "Once Victoria causes a scene at the wedding, we can paint her as unstable. No one will believe her accusations about the company." Dad's response was equally chilling. "Shame about the mirror, though. Family heirloom and all." "They knew!" The realization hit like a physical blow. "They knew I'd choose the mirror." "Because they know you," Nicholas said gently. "They know you'd want something symbolic, something that would hurt them the way they hurt you." I sank onto my couch, the weight of my own predictability crushing me. "So what am I supposed to do? Let them win? Let them get away with everything?" "No." He sat beside me, close enough that I could smell rain and coffee on his skin. "We expose them the right way, with proof that can't be dismissed as a daughter's jealous tantrum." Another text from Delaney. "Please, it's important." "Why are you helping me?" I asked Nicholas. "What's in it for you?" "Your father's organization destroyed my family's business last year. Made it look like embezzlement, ruined my father's reputation." His jaw tightened. He didn't survive the scandal. Understanding clicked into place. "That's why you took the job, to get proof." "And now I have it." He showed me his phone again, folders of documents that made my stolen financial records look like parking tickets. "But I need your help to use it." Before I could respond, my phone rang. Linda. "Turn on the news," she said without preamble. "Now." I grabbed the remote. The headline made my heart stop. "Major financial fraud investigation launched. Multiple arrests expected." "They're moving early," Nicholas said, reading over my shoulder. "We need to—" A pounding at my door cut him off. Through the peephole, I saw Delaney, mascara streaked down her face. "Please," she called. "They're coming. I didn't know where else to go." Nicholas grabbed my arm. "Don't. It's probably a trap." But I was already opening the door. Delaney stumbled in, clutching her wedding dress in a wrinkled bundle. "Your father," she gasped. "He's planning to run. Tonight, during the reception. Everything's been arranged. Private plane, offshore accounts." She turned to Nicholas. "They know about your evidence. They're going to pin everything on you and Victoria." "Why are you telling us this?" I demanded. She pulled something from her dress. The sapphire ring. "Because I found out what really happened to your mother. Why she really left." Her eyes met mine, fierce through her tears. "She didn't abandon you, Victoria. They drove her away, and they used me to do the same thing to you." Nicholas checked his phone, swearing softly. "Police are moving on the office now. If your father runs, he won't." I walked to the mirror, running my fingers along its frame. "Because we're going to give him exactly what he expects. The perfect distraction, the perfect scene." "Victoria," Nicholas started. But this time, I continued, we'll be ready, all of us. Delaney straightened, wiping her eyes. What do you need me to do? I looked between them, Nicholas with his evidence, Delaney with her insider knowledge, both offering a chance at real justice instead of just revenge. First, I said, we need to deliver a wedding gift. The mirror caught our reflections, three people united by betrayal, now standing together against the man who'd orchestrated it all. In a few hours, that mirror would shatter. But this time, I wouldn't be the only one left picking up the pieces. Sunlight pierced through the Rosewood Hotel's stained glass windows, casting kaleidoscope shadows across Delaney's wedding dress as she paced the bridal suite. The mirror stood wrapped in white silk in the corner, waiting like a loaded gun. They're starting to arrive, Linda reported from the doorway. Nicholas is in position with the evidence. Police are standing by. My phone buzzed. Dad. Proud of you for being here, sweetheart. Let's put the past behind us. Delaney caught my reflection in the vanity mirror, her fingers twisting the sapphire ring. He still doesn't suspect? He suspects everything. I smoothed my bridesmaid's dress, the same shade of blue as the ring. He just thinks he's ahead of us. A knock at the door made us all freeze. Prudence entered, elegant in charcoal gray, her smile sharp as broken glass. Almost time, ladies. Victoria, your father's asking for you. Of course he is. I grabbed the wrapped mirror. Wouldn't want to miss giving the happy couple their gift. Prudence's eyes tracked the package. How thoughtful. Though perhaps wait until after the ceremony. Some moments shouldn't be interrupted. Don't worry. I met her gaze steadily. Everything will happen exactly when it's supposed to. The hotel corridor stretched endlessly, my heels clicking against marble as I approached Dad's suite. Each step felt like moving through water, memories flooding back, walking the same path on my wedding day, believing in love and family and forever. He opened the door before I could knock. Victoria! His voice was warm, practiced, perfect. I was hoping we could talk. The suite smelled of his familiar cologne, but something else lingered beneath it. Fear, maybe. Or desperation. He poured 2 glasses of scotch with slightly trembling hands. You didn't have to do this, he said, offering me one. Play along, pretend to accept things. I know how much we hurt you. Do you? I set the mirror down carefully. Do you really? More than you know. He moved to the window, watching guests arrive below. Your mother, she would have handled this better, would she? My voice stayed steady. Or did you drive her away too? He turned sharply. What did Delaney tell you? Enough. I lifted my glass but didn't drink. About the threats, the manufactured evidence, the way you forced Mom to leave by making her look unstable, just like you're planning to do to me. His mask slipped for just a moment, showing something cold and calculating beneath. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. I set my glass down. You destroy anyone who threatens your control. Your wife, your daughter, probably Delaney eventually. The only difference is, I'm not running away. No, he said softly. You're planning something much stupider. He moved toward the mirror. Let me guess. It's rigged to shatter? Create a scene? Expose my sins to all our guests? Would I do that? Yes. His smile was almost proud. Because you're my daughter, but you're not thinking big enough. He pulled out his phone, showing me a news alert. Major financial firm CEO found dead, apparent suicide. The photo showed Nicholas's building. My heart stopped. No, don't worry, he's alive, for now. Dad pocketed his phone. But my associates are very good at making accidents happen. To him, to Linda, to anyone helping you with your little revenge plot. You're bluffing. Am I? He stepped closer. Walk away, Victoria. Take the settlement I'm offering and disappear, like your mother should have. For a moment I wavered. The weight of what I was risking, not just my safety, but everyone who'd helped me, pressed down like lead. Then my phone buzzed. A photo from Nicholas. Him and Linda, safe at the police station, evidence secured. And below it, one word. Now. I smiled at my father. You know what your mistake was? Thinking I'm like you, that I'd choose revenge over justice. The door burst open. Delaney entered in her wedding dress, phone recording. Behind her, hotel security and several stern-faced men in suits. Mr. Sanderson? One stepped forward, badge glinting. We have some questions about your conversation just now, and about your wife's disappearance 15 years ago. Dad's face contorted. He lunged for the mirror, perhaps hoping to create the very distraction he'd expected from me. But I was faster. I caught the package before it fell, carefully unwrapping it to reveal not my grandmother's mirror, but a simple digital recorder. His entire confession captured in pristine audio. You're right, I said as they led him away. I am your daughter. That's how I knew exactly how you'd try to stop me. Delaney touched my arm, tears cutting through her perfect makeup. I'm so sorry. For everything. Through the window, I watched them load my father into an unmarked car. The sun caught the sapphire ring one last time, no longer a symbol of betrayal, but of truth finally brought to light. Don't be sorry, I said. Be free. The soft hush of night wrapped around the Rosewood Hotel as guests slowly filtered out, whispering about the scandal, the arrests, the wedding that wasn't. I sat alone in the empty ballroom, surrounded by untouched champagne glasses and centerpieces that would never see their moment of glory. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing. Reporters, distant relatives, old friends suddenly eager to reconnect. I ignored them all, focusing instead on the small package in my lap, delivered by hotel staff just minutes ago. The handwriting on the note was achingly familiar. I've waited 15 years to give you this. Mom. My hands trembled as I opened it, revealing my grandmother's actual mirror. Not the decoy we'd used in the sting, but the real family heirloom. Smaller than I remembered, designed to fit in a purse, its silver surface still pristine despite the years. I thought you might be here. I looked up to find Nicholas in the doorway, his tie loose, looking exhausted but satisfied. The police have your father's full confession, and Prudence's. They're cooperating to avoid additional charges. Did they say anything about my mother? Better. He sat beside me. They found her. She's been living in Seattle, working as a legal advocate for women escaping financial abuse. She never stopped trying to reach you, Victoria. Your father's people intercepted everything. The mirror's weight felt heavier suddenly. All those years believing I wasn't worth staying for when she'd been fighting to come back all along. There's something else. Nicholas pulled out his phone. Remember those offshore accounts Delaney mentioned? They weren't just for running away. Your father was building a trust fund, for you. I laughed bitterly. Blood money? No. Delaney's voice came from behind us. She'd changed out of her wedding dress into simple black, the sapphire ring conspicuously absent. It was your mother's money, the settlement he forced her to leave behind. He's been adding to it, trying to ease his guilt. How did you know? She sat on my other side. Because he told me everything. How he drove your mother away. How he made her look unstable when she tried to take you with her. He said keeping the money was his insurance policy, proof he wasn't the monster she claimed. But he was. I opened the mirror, studying my reflection. I had my mother's eyes. Just a different kind. The funds are being unfrozen, Nicholas said. Once the investigation concludes, it's all yours. Your mother's lawyers are already working on it. A movement caught my eye. Linda in the doorway, holding her phone. She's here, your mom, in the lobby. She's asking to see you. My heart stuttered. I'm not ready. Yes, you are. Delaney squeezed my hand. You've been ready for 15 years. I stood, the mirror clutched to my chest. What do I even say? Whatever you need to. Nicholas straightened my dress, his touch gentle. The truth has a way of finding its own words. The lobby felt miles away, each step echoing through empty corridors. I thought of all the ways I'd imagined this moment, all the accusations and tears I'd rehearsed in my head. She stood by the fountain, older than in my memories, but somehow exactly the same. When she saw me, her hands flew to her mouth. Victoria! Her voice broke on my name. My brave, brilliant girl. I meant to be strong, meant to ask my questions calmly, to maintain control. Instead, I fell into her arms like I was 12 years old again, the mirror pressed between us. I'm so sorry, she whispered into my hair. I never stopped fighting to get back to you. I know. And suddenly I did know, with a certainty that washed away years of doubt. I found my way back to you too. She pulled back, touching my face. You did more than that. You found the truth. You finished what I couldn't. We both did. I showed her the mirror. Together. Behind us, I heard Linda quietly ushering everyone else away, giving us privacy. Through the hotel's windows, dawn was breaking over the city, painting everything in new light. I have so many questions, I said. I have so many answers. She smiled through her tears. And all the time in the world to share them. I opened the mirror one last time, but instead of studying my reflection, I watched our images together. Mother and daughter, lost and found, broken and healing. The glass didn't shatter. It didn't need to. Sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't destruction at all. It's reconstruction, building something stronger from the pieces of what was broken. And finally, after 15 years, we could begin.